Walker Fowler simply won't give up. Despite bad luck knocking him back in the Grand National Cross Country points, he continues to surge, and with a win last time in Pennsylvania, is once again in title contention. Next up is home race. Can he win again? Let's rack them up and go racing. It's the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. The ITP Tires Powerline Park GNCC. We've been running this one since 2001. And the fans here in Ohio know what it's all about. They gather here in the power lines, find some jumps and some mud. We've also got the long, muddy roads and the famous Gus's mud hole, which will catch riders all weekend long. That wasn't even Gus's mud hole. That's even crazier. We'll see it later on as our afternoon race is set to get underway. Chris Borich, as always, your defending GNCC champ, but Walker Fowler on an incredible run right now. Wins in 4 of the last 5 races. He is now just a few points back of Chris Borich in the series standings. With a win today, he could be right back in it. Let's get going. 341, Brian the Big Bad Wolf looks to have the whole shot. Goes a little bit wide. Brent Sturdivant has had a nice little return to the series lately, running fast and strong like he did back in his full-time racing days out front. And that's a whole shot, I believe, for him from Twin Air and DeRisi Racing. A little bit of mud thrown down here, and that's actually a good thing on this track. It'll get slick, but it could also get dusty, so I think the riders are okay with it. Here we go, the famous mud jump. Fans all lined up here. Sturdivant, Wolf. I believe that's Fowler and Borich also right there in contention. They got a big uphill after this. One of the most deceiving parts of this track, you see this nice muddy soil down here. And now we're onto that muddy road, and Gus's mud hole lies in this vicinity. Walker Fowler now into the lead. But all these mud holes and all these spectacular obstacles and stuff, those are the headlining elements of this track. But really what it comes down to is the wood sections are just so darn slick. It's like riding on ice. And whoever can best negotiate that is generally the one who's going to come out on top in the Powerline Park race. Boy, these guys have got to be absolutely covered in mud already. And a couple of different ways you can get through there. You can go all the way to our right, the rider's left, but you don't know how deep it is, taking a big chance, and most of these pros will tell you they would rather not blast through the mud early on and completely ruin their goggles and their gloves. They'll get a little more aggressive as the race goes on. It's Fowler over Borich. I believe that's still Sturdivant making things happen in third. And good luck picking out the rest of these guys. I think our buddy Johnny Gallagher is up there on the Yamaha. I saw Chris Bithell come through. I mentioned Brian Wolf with a good start. You can always tell those headlights there of Jay Shadra, the rookie in the class. You guys are absolutely covered. And speaking of covered, Borich all over Fowler. Now into the field section, and this is that slick terrain I'm talking about. You see the dirt's all shiny. Very hard to get traction here. Look at Fowler having to work very gently on the throttle. Flat tracker. And Fowler going all the way to the cushion there on the outside where that dirt gets built up from the roost. Borich doing the same. Big front end push from Fowler. Look at Borich trying to tuck it to the inside. Again, it's just so slick on this track. You can come in there and be aggressive if you want, but you're going to blow through the corners. Here's Sturdivant, West Virginia native, who was always a contender in this series, even while going to college at the same time, but we didn't see him for a little while. Good to see him back. And he is really fast in the really rugged, technical, rocky terrain. We'll see if he can put that to work today and maybe put it up on the podium. Going to be hard to beat these two, though. They have gone to another level, and I think the indicator of that is how fast Borich has been at the beginning of these races. Back in the day, Borich would just cruise around the first couple of laps, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Really wouldn't put too much pressure on. He'd come on late. Last few rounds, I think he knows he can't play games like that anymore with Fowler, so Boric has been getting right there up to second place early. But even doing that, he hasn't had an answer for Fowler. He's gotten close. But Fowler won at Unadilla after the summer break, won again. Mountain Ridge is leading here today early in Ohio. Kid on the AmPro NFAB Yamaha in the zone right now. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Big charge here from Walker Fowler. Equally big charge from Chris Boric. Boric on the Maxxis Suzuki, trying to keep the heat on Fowler. Brent Sturdivant, excellent job here in third. Chris Bithell and Johnny Gallagher inside the top 5 at the end of lap 1. Some fresh terrain here, these guys negotiating through, just trying to figure out the best lines, hoping that there's not a bottomless hole there in the mud. Another element here in these races in the fall when you get the leaves down. Hard to see where the soft spots are. But then in a few weeks, we'll be racing in the finale at the Ironman. And by then, it's amazing the difference 3 weeks can make. By then, a lot of the leaves are off of the trees. And then riders say you can actually pick out lines further ahead down the trail than you can typically at a GNCC because the trees aren't blocking your view. There's so many elements to contend with. I think we just saw Bithell and Johnny G come through. Now it is Shadron. Back to the mud jump. Fowler airing it out. And stretching it out over Boric. I love the fans pointing forward. Of course, that's the direction to go. Trust me, Boric knows he's in the number 2 spot. Bithell and Gallagher having a good tussle there. Good to see everybody. Johnny G up in the top 5. 7th in the series last year. One of the good guys of the sport. Buddies with everybody on the track, off the track. And showing some good speed today, as is Fowler. Still has this little gap built up over Boric. I think we have a tightening up of this battle now with Sturdivant and everyone else trying to fight for that podium spot. Bryson Neal getting into the picture, along with Shadron. These kids like Neil Shadron, Braden Henthorne, who are recent graduates into this class, really taking strides this year. Not as far forward as Fowler and Boric right now. They haven't been able to really get too many podium finishes, but they're contenders every week for those top 3 positions, and eventually they're going to break through and figure out how to deliver it all the way to the checkered flag. Maybe today could be the day for Shadron or Neal to do it. But right now, it's Sturdivant holding on to that 3rd place spot. Johnny Gallagher right there. And just trying to pick out numbers and colors with the rest of these guys is next to impossible. I do know this, the number 2 of Fowler, the lead just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and this doesn't happen in GNCC racing. You don't just dominate from flag to flag. It's not supposed to be this way. Not with a 2-hour race, not with lap traffic, not with all the potential pitfalls out on the track, and certainly not with Chris Boric behind you trying to track you down. But Fowler, who we all know possesses otherworldly talent, came through the ranks as a youth and amateur champion and in dominant fashion quite often. He has finally found the groove here in his 3rd year in the pro class, and even Boric is hard-pressed to stop him. And Boric needs to get it done today. If Fowler wins and Boric finishes 2nd, they will be tied in points heading into the finale. That's not a situation anyone wants. If Boric can beat Fowler here, then he doesn't need to win the season finale. So a lot of pressure on these guys. Fowler sure isn't riding like it, though. He looks calm and relaxed out front. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Pan Am. Walker Fowler still out front here in the ITP Tires Powerline Park GNCC. I'm Jason Wygant giving you the call here for Racer TV. This has been the story for most of the second half of 2014. Fowler and then everyone else, and try as much as Chris Borich might to stop that. Unable to get close enough today to really put the heat on. We know Borich is known for the last lap charges, but you got to get a little closer than this to make it happen. And back here, some of the usual suspects battling for a podium spot. Adam McGill, there's Shadron and Neal, who we mentioned, and Jared McClure, who's been a very consistent podium guy this year, also in this fight. So that's 4 riders that will be going for one last podium spot if Fowler and Borich hold on to first and second. Looking good for both of them right now. And I believe we got some radio chatter from the matriarch of the series. Rita Coombs must be down here checking out the action. Everybody wants to see Walker Fowler. He's pumped up. He's winning races. And he's got a shot at this championship if he can hold on to win today. You know there's no giving up from the number 1. But Borich has got to figure out a way to get this done. Don't want to hand over any more points or any more momentum to the kid. Pointing out lines to the rest of these guys. Good battle back here. Woo! Hang on to it, Bryson Neal. That line all the way at the right, obviously getting eaten up. Fans are trying to point it out. I'm not sure what direction they're really pointing to. Little mistake there from McClure. Almost went into a tree. Here's Fowler. Just let the Yamaha dance over those rocks. Now a big uphill again, so slippery. These guys, they just have so much momentum at the bottom of the hills that they rarely get caught out. I tell you, Chris Borich has had goggles, or has not had goggles, seemingly all day today. That has got to be tough. Underneath all this mud, I think that's Adam McGill, who has climbed up to 3rd. Didn't see much of him in the early going. This is Shadron. Thank you again for running the headlights in the front of your Yamaha. That's an easy way to pick them out of the mud. Back to the field goes Fowler. Got the head down and charging. The thing about Fowler, man, you see him in sections like this or in the mud. At Unadilla, we have those big motocross jumps. He has so much fun on the machine. And considering what is now on the line, this could be a championship run for him now. The idea that he could be enjoying it this much and still being this calm, cool, and collected is really impressive. I don't think he's worried one bit. Maybe a factor is simply he's been second in the points all year. And considering how the early season went and how many races Borich won and a near 50-point lead that he had at one point, it's all bonus time for Fowler to even be in it. As we watch McGill and Shadron fighting for 3rd and 4th. Like I said, the kids haven't been able to get into the top 3 at the finish very often, but they learn every time they're in one of these battles. It's a good one. Neal and McClure there as well. Hang on to it. Man. I'm just marveling at, again, I mentioned how slick this track is. And these guys are sliding the rear wheels. You make one mistake and you're into one of those trees and you are done. No changes in this order. Still the same 4 riders battling it out for that final podium spot. Time is running out if anyone wants to do anything with Walker Fowler. 1 lap to go here in Ohio. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Well, Walker Fowler is taking a lot of the drama out of this race today. Grabbed the lead early from Brent Sturdivant and has not looked back. And despite all the different obstacles this course has thrown his way, he has not only taken them, he has taken them in style. And Chris Borich, any other year, we'd just be bracing ourselves right now for the inevitable last lap charge, the Borich. But these last couple of weeks, no one has been close enough to do anything with Fowler down the stretch. And getting good advice about lines from the fans. He salutes them back. Like I said, he looks very relaxed, having a great time on the machine, not even worried about what's behind him, and that is a massive breakthrough with the kind of mental beatdown Chris Borich has put on the rest of these riders over the last half dozen years. McGill in third. We've got to start thinking about the finale. If Fowler holds on to win this one, we will have a tie. Shadrick comes through in fourth. We'll have a tie for the points lead between Borich and Fowler. A tie. That's unbelievable. Neal still holding on over McClure. That would be 5th and 6th. Fowler trying to bring it home on the AmPro and Fab Yamaha. One more time. Over the jump. Handles it. Borich still second, but I'm impressed out with his charges. Again, you don't see wire-to-wire ATV wins. Chris Borich has written the book on how to do it, and often he would, again, hang back the first couple of laps and then turn it on the last lap. High-fiving people along the way to winning. Are you kidding me? Here's Borich still on the mission, trying to figure out a way to close the gap. And still riding without goggles. Man, that's gotta hurt. Long day in the saddle for the champ. Gotta figure out a way to solve this riddle. Borich, I think, a little more aggressive through this section than Fowler, not giving up. But Fowler was over a minute ahead as the white flag came out. That's McGill, still third, into the clearing. And perhaps in the clear is Fowler. Now, anything can happen in a GNCC race, we know it. But the way this kid has been riding as of late and with the massive gap he has built up now, didn't even take any gambles with the pit stops this time like he did at our last race. And there were some worries they weren't going to have enough fuel to get all the way back around and gas up, but not the problem today. Didn't need to take any gambles on pit strategy. The speed did everything they needed. And this is just an incredible run. We're now looking at 5 out of the last 6 races won by him if he can hang on. And a tie in the championship heading into the finale. I can't remember the last time we had anything like that. Walker Fowler wins the ITP Tires Powerline Park GNCC. And gap's going to be nearly 2 minutes here at the end. Just a ridiculous run for the Yamaha rider out of Rogers, Ohio. Borich, strong, consistent as usual, but not able to stop Walker Fowler today. Come from behind charge for McGill. He'll make it happen and hold off the kids. Another good effort by them, but the 3 veterans on a podium, and McGill is always a character. Here's your AMSOIL results. There's McClure and Shadron. Actually, sorry, McClure making the move, getting around both of them down the stretch to take fourth away. Yoho 7th, Henthorne, Merritt, and Sturdivant round out the top 10. And look at this. Tied going into the finale. What a race it's going to be at the Ironman. McGill is assured of third in the series. Here's our AMSOIL race recap. Well, the start, it didn't really matter that much. Boric and Fowler are on a mission right now for points. 341. Wolf would beat everyone into the first turn, but before long, it was the 2 and the 1 out front. And there was nothing Boric could do. He was close to Fowler for a while, but Walker just kept extending it. It didn't matter how difficult the track, how thick the lap traffic, how wild the obstacles were. He's just firing away right now. And we have set ourselves up for an amazing season finale. Be with us next week.